And then next we just have a little fun one from Garry Tan, who is the CEO and president of YC, which is Y-Combinator. They've invested in a ton of massive companies like Stripe, Airbnb, DoorDash, etc. They kind of started incubator game, or at least they excelled at it the most of any incubator for sure in terms of market cap. And Garry Tan as well is known to have angel invested or seed invested in Coinbase, and also he designed the logo for Palantir. So he definitely has credibility. He's very well known in the industry, but he's saying that Ruby on Rails plus Claude Code is a crazy unlock, and that Rails was designed for people who love syntactic sugar and I guess he's saying since they know so much about the syntax and understand the very deep complexities of it because they just have the docs in front of them compared to us where like we kind of have to remember it to write code, that they can take advantage of all these quick little syntactical advantages that you can use in Ruby on Rails. And also he talks about kind of the opinionated structure, as opposed to JavaScript where you can have like a folder wherever you want. You can use all these different frameworks, React, Next, Express, etc. Whereas in Ruby, it's like all the models, all the data goes in here. These are the different access patterns and then services and migrations and tests as well. It's funny too, because in the description, he says he's averaging about 10,000 lines of code per day. 35% of the lines are tests, and he's going for 15K a day. I'm sure people are going to clown on the idea of measuring by lines of code because that's such a classic meme. I don't really keep track of how many lines of code I write. I look more at like Jira tickets, right? And like initiatives that can be delivered, but clearly he's delivering something, and I think unit testing as well is going to be really solid in the age of AI, but I do think you also just got to actually use the product, and that's where it kind of adds that human bottleneck still, where it's like you can't look at 10 different browsers at once. And Theo here in the replies as well, he has a great tweet about this separately that maybe I could have covered, but it's kind of old news, after 2 days. But he talks a lot about that as well, where it's like you have the IDE, the browser, and the terminal. You have these different applications where it's like, oh, you're writing it in Cloud Code or you're writing it in the IDE, and then you have the browser as well where you need to test it or take a look at it. So those are the pieces that can't be asynchronously done by agents yet. I know there is browser usage and all these things and opening it in sandboxes, but it's not quite at the level of like human testing still. But it does speak to a piece of like, how can we really get continuous delivery and continuous integration where it's like we can write tests that are so good that if they're green, we know we can merge to prod. And I think that's something very interesting to think about. And, I don't really care language one way or the other. I do TypeScript, obviously. I haven't done too much Ruby, but whatever gets the project shipped is what's important to me. But in terms of like which stacks I'm betting on for the future of the AI boom, definitely my colleague who put me onto the idea of doing full stack expo, I really think he's onto something. If you can just have one repo that delivers web and mobile in one and also the API routes for most things. I know for some things you'll have to have a long running route or some server that stood up so you can do batch execution or temporal or whatever. But you can use everything in Expo. I really think that delivers a lot.